The big news is the new Tesla Model 3. We also talk about the Chrysler Pacifica, and we answer your questions about sports sedans next on Talking Cars. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Talking Cars with Consumer Reports. I'm Tom Mutchler.
I'm Jake Fisher.
I'm Gabe Shenhar.
The big news in the automotive industry is the unveiling of the Tesla Model 3.
I thought you were going to say the new Chrysler minivan.
Well, that's right. For about $35,000, you can get Model 3 or a Pacifica.
The Pacifica goes over 200 miles.
It does.
And it costs about $35,000.
It sits 5 adults comfortably.
It does.
It has some screens in it.
It does. And it will be available sometime in the future.
Right. We're filming this the day after the unveil. And you watch it, it was like a revival meeting. It was, you don't see car debuts like that very often.
So see, here's
It's
what
like
I
a
was...
homecoming of the fan base.
Yeah.
Here's what I was most taken about. So you've got a situation where, the unveiling was last night. But before the unveiling, there were lines of thousands of people across the country ready to buy something that they have never seen. They don't know when they'd get it.
You don't know what the final price is.
You don't know what the final price is. I mean, that is amazing. They're putting down deposits. I mean, sure, we all seen like the pictures of people at the Apple store, right? But they know what phone it is. They know, oh, I'll get the model, the Apple 6S. I know information about it. But here you have no information about it, and people were putting down $1,000.
Are you sure they were all for the Tesla Model 3 and not for the iPhone SE?
Maybe they were confused.
That's right.
Like, oh, this is not an
Man,
Apple
I
store?
hope an iPhone SE is not $1,000.
Well, there's that.
It's really pretty amazing. Again, it's like a Kickstarter for a car company.
Right. So, I mean, I have a friend of mine who was one of those on the line, and I'm like, you realize you don't know what this is? And she's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, you realize you don't know when you would get it? Well, yeah, I know that. And she's like, well, worst situation is I've loaned a car company $1,000 for a little bit. I could get the money back. I mean, but
Is she in the financing business?
She is now.
She is now.
I don't see that many people being willing to do that with like Fiat Chrysler
Or
a normal car company.
Well, I can actually get the real analog car, which is the Bolt. So Chevy, and honestly, I mean, here's part of me. I feel really bad for the Chevy engineers. I really feel bad for Chevy because they also have a car that goes about 200 miles. They also have a car that's full electric. They also have a car that's about $35,000.
Yeah,
and
but
they are going to beat them. They're going to beat them to market.
Yes.
And there's not going to be lines around the block.
But you're not going to compare the Chevy Bolt with the sex appeal of the Tesla. I mean, the whole mystique of the Tesla brand. And that speaks to the attraction of the whole Tesla kind of state of mind.
Okay, let's get past the mystique because it's what we do. What do we know about the Model 3? Which isn't we don't know a ton.
Well, we don't
honestly.
know a whole lot. I mean, it looks like it's about like a 60% model of the Model S. Kind of has similar proportions, and I mean, it looks pretty slick. But we know it's going to do 215 miles of range. We know it's going to cost $35,000 to begin with. And that's pretty much it. And we know it's not going to be out until like well into 2018 in any significant volumes.
Right. No, even Musk was, when he said the end of 2017, was laughing quite a bit because they've had troubles with that in the past. We know it has a giant screen inside. It didn't look like the interior was completely finished.
Yeah, it didn't. It looks like a large screen TV right in the center and nothing else.
Well, so the question is, I don't think there really was a whole lot of answers to the question, but $35,000 is a pretty attractive price when, most of the Teslas been rolling out the door, around 90 or more.
Right.
But $35,000, what does that get you? So he did make a big point of saying $35,000 would get you the 215 miles range. It would get you
quick acceleration.
Yeah,
acceleration, six
seconds
or less. So it wasn't like 35,000 was like some kind of penalty box, but it is unclear what you get. Do you get that big screen in the $35,000 one? I don't know.
He did say that you get all the technology. You get the safety
autopilot.
technology.
You get the safety technology. You don't get the autopilot.
Oh, okay.
So what you get is
you get the hardware that enables it.
Exactly, which is the same brand strategy what they're doing in terms of the Model S too. So everyone gets the sensors, but to enable it to actually drive it by itself or whatever it's going to be doing in 2018,
right? Yeah, that's true.
That is an extra fee.
And we know there will be a dual mode version with all-wheel drive.
But beyond that, don't know a whole bunch.
Beyond that, you don't know a whole bunch.
I don't even know if it's a sedan or a hatchback.
Yeah, I was trying to look at
Well,
the cut lines. It looked like a sedan.
It's
Yeah,
a
it
sedan,
does.
and I'll tell you why. Because the rear glass
Is one
goes
piece,
all the way
yeah.
up to above the rear passengers. So it basically goes all the way to the B pillar. It goes to right where the sunroof ends. So it would be impossible to lift that whole thing up, which is my guess here. But I know I haven't seen any pictures of opening up the trunk because it is pretty weird with this big giant glass in the rear. I was a little surprised they went that way. I actually was expecting that they would do the big glass from the front. There's actually a couple of European car makers have done this, where the windshield extends over the driver's head to give you a really unobstructed view going up. They went the other way, which creates a problem probably for the rear passengers getting really hot back there. They say it's solar glass, but who knows? We'll see.
I was hoping it was a hatchback just to help continue the reinsurgence of hatchbacks.
I know.
The ultimate logical body style next to station wagons and minivans.
Yes.
To make hatchbacks cool again, but not so much.
I was hoping to, but I mean, again, this cool factor, I mean, obviously they weren't going to make it like a box,
No.
and they couldn't, it doesn't look anything like the Bolt.
No.
And the Bolt may do everything it does from a company that we know is going to probably be around for a long time, Chevrolet, which has lots of dealerships, but no, you can't.
And
Although-
sink a whole bunch of money into the Gigafactory.
Yeah, I mean, that Gigafactory is
giant,
enormous.
Giant
yeah.
factory.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of lithium.
A lot of, all
All the lithium.
it's all the lithium. So yeah, I mean, it's an incredibly. How many reservations are up? Less than 24 hours.
Well, they
after
said
that?
so the number was at the time. So prior to actually showing the car, it said here it is. Prior to that, there was 115,000 people reserved that. So do the math. That's 115 million dollars that Tesla gets to hold on to. But and clearly there's probably be more people making reservations. That's amazing for something people have not seen.
Yeah. Yeah, for something that's at least $35,000 that no one's seen.
Right.
And I mean, although that factory had the capacity back, I believe, when GM owned it, of making 500,000 cars, they're not going to ramp up to super big production numbers immediately.
Not immediately, no.
So,
We shall see.
right. Let's talk about something that's very much
More
material,
relevant
very
to
much
more
here.
people?
Well, actually, I don't know, because minivans are a shrinking market segment, but
Still large, though.
it's still large, and Chrysler's making a go at it again. I mean, you have the company that was, this is debatable, I realize, the creator of the modern minivan. But over the last couple years, they've really kind of fallen behind. And it's a matter of corporate pride for Chrysler to get the Pacifica right. And we have an early Pacifica that we've driven.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of corporate pride about this, but you know what? Look, you go back in the 80s, right? Chrysler claims that they invented the minivan.
Yeah, I mean, that's when hundreds of thousands of people bought them.
Oh, sure, and it was a big deal at the time. I would argue that Volkswagen kind of invented the minivan, back in the 60s.
I would argue that until the minivan got wood grain along the sides, it was not really invented.
But anyway, but the point is that you got to go back quite a ways and to actually think about where Chrysler actually did their own car, right? So I mean, a lot of the cars from Chrysler, Chrysler, it's FCA, it's Fiat. So a lot of their new platforms are Fiat chassis. Before that, it was Mercedes-Benz.
Right.
And if you go back, what was truly a Chrysler built vehicle?
The K car.
That's a long time ago. I mean, that's the early 80s.
Well, the early minivan was based on that.
Exactly.
But anyway, probably the LH cars which is
What,
Dodge
Intrepid
Intrepid and
Chrysler 300.
Eagle Vision and whatever.
Eagle,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Now you got to really go back there and
That's
time
their
machine.
93, I think, yeah.
But look, they do trucks, right? The Ram, I still want to call it the Dodge Ram, the
yes.
Ram 1500, and that's a pretty nicely developed vehicle, right?
They did Liberty Nitro, the second generation, which was
SUVs.
not a well-developed vehicle.
No, true. But you
Yeah,
look
but
at,
we're talking passenger front-wheel drive cars.
but yes, let's start
And that's
talking
what
about
this
that.
is.
Right.
Right, a vehicle that's like a car. You got to go back, and if you look at the Intrepid, okay, I don't know, when the Intrepid came out, I think I was in high school or something like that. But it's like, it was roomy, it was
pretty.
innovative at the time. It rode and handled
Yeah.
pretty decently for the time.
Competitive.
You know, so this is kind of their chance again to say, okay, we're not going to go, you know, put a new body around this Fiat or Mercedes-Benz chassis. Here's what we can do.
And it turns out that they built actually a really pretty nice minivan.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice minivan. Yeah, I mean, it's quiet. The powertrain is pretty good. It's the first time that they really got close to getting the 9-speed automatic.
I know,
right.
I drove it, it's like, I've driven this car 5 miles and I haven't sworn at it once. I'm like, oh, I guess the 9-speed's almost right.
Yeah, well, I drove it like 200 miles. And
Did you swear at it?
No.
All right, good. That means it's fixed.
No, it's a good car, really well done.
Yeah, you know,
totally
and actually,
competitive.
Something to understand is that making a good minivan is hard. I mean, minivans are totally unsexy, and they go to a population that's maybe doesn't, you know, they're value driven, they're practicality conscious. They don't understand how complex a minivan is. And this thing is a giant box with holes on 3 sides of it.
Yeah.
And you need to make it not twist. You need to make it quiet. You need to make it crash test well, which the old van didn't. It is hard to make a minivan.
Yeah, big holes in the box always is going to compromise the integrity of any body. I mean, it's 2 side doors and the huge sunroof, but
We talk a lot about value here, you know, and talk about different markets, and there's different competition in different markets, right? And we talk about sometimes when we talk about the small luxury segment, you know, it's, you know, maybe not be a whole lot of value there. I mean, certainly some expensive sports cars, you get a Maserati Gran Turismo or something. I mean, there's not a whole lot of value there because what you're getting isn't really worth that money. When you look at minivans, you're getting a whole lot.
Yes.
And you're right, there's a lot of
you're making way
development.
too much sense now.
I know, this is crazy. All the Tesla people have they've
They
signed
can shut
off.
yeah.
But I mean, but I mean, yeah, it's not easy to make something like this that's that big, drive nicely, have the visibility, and there's a lot of innovation here.
Yes, there is.
So I mean, when it comes to like sedans or whatever, it's like everyone's kind of doing the same thing. Every time, and this is what Chrysler's known for, every time they come out with a new van, there's some innovation here, and there's more here.
No, you go, I mean, look, the thing that's important in a minivan is really the interior. That is where a minivan earns its keep. There is a lot clever here. You can keep child seats installed in the 2nd row seat and still get back to, you can still fold it, pitch it forward and get back to the 3rd row seat.
The stow and go has been improved.
The stow and go has improved a lot. That they've made it easier. There's a button to slide the seat forward and then just one strap and the seat folds into the floor. Uconnect has always been great. You know, it's still here. The Uconnect theater system in the back, although more people just give their kids iPads, it's clever. It has like old-timey games built in it that kids can play.
It's kind of cool. I mean, it's almost like being...
I like the license plate game.
The license, yeah, so I mean, the theater, it's basically... I think it's anyone who's been on an airplane and you have that little thing in the back and some of the cars and they have some games and no, it's not the greatest thing, but you could play a game and it keeps you occupied. They do that really well. It's almost like it's the same experience as if you're getting on a flight when you get into the back there. And it, like,
well, you said that it was like a private. You get a high-end one of these, it feels like a private jet, which minivans usually don't. You know, a Sienna or an Odyssey, even though they can sell for over 40 grand, they still have a bit of a hose-out feel to the interior. This is swankier than that.
And the old, last generation of this thing, again, the Town and Country was kind of a rental car, something you got because you needed it, not because you wanted it. And just on the license plate game, and they have these games that are driving games. It wasn't like, oh, we'll just, jam in a Android device and have, Angry Birds here. They had the license plate game, which is like, oh, you could play against each other, and if somebody sees a license plate from a different state, and you do that, and they have bingo, finding things on the roadside. There's a lot of neat. I was hoping there'd be Punch Buggy, which is Slug Bug in other markets.
Back to the Volkswagen again.
It's always about the Volkswagen.
Well, let's
Volkswagen has a Bernie sticker on it probably by now, right?
Right. I don't know about this.
Let's get back to cold, harsh, evil reality. Okay. This is a very clean sheet product from Chrysler, whose reliability has not been good recently.
Right. So this is a tough one. So when it comes to reliability, yes, Chrysler has not been good, but this is very different from other Chryslers. So this is
You're right. It's not like the 200. It's not like the Renegade. It's not like the Cherokee. All of those were taking Fiat.
Exactly. With whatever baggage that comes from the Fiat platform. Again, prior to that, we still have vehicles that are based on Mercedes-Benz, and Mercedes-Benz does not have a great record of introducing vehicles. The C-Class, which we love, is terrible when it comes to reliability. So this may be different. However, there's really no data to support that they know how to build something reliable. I sincerely hope it is reliable, and we will have, later this year, we'll have data on this vehicle.
It's a total wild car for now. I mean, the 9-speed automatic has always been a source of problem, even for other manufacturers other than Chrysler that use the same automatic box, but we'll have to see, that's all.
We'll have to see. The other thing I don't like is that safety equipment, forward collision warning, automatic braking, you have to get pretty rich in the model.
Yeah, Touring L.
Yeah, Touring L Plus, which is pushing $40,000.
You need leather to even have it available as an option. I think that's too bad.
Right, and I mean, I think very soon we're going to see a redesigned Honda Odyssey, and you can be pretty certain they're going to offer that Honda sensing on every trim level. So let's hope Chrysler rethinks some option packages and makes that available at lower prices. But right now, this is a very intriguing car. Very, very nice car to drive. Sort of the Grand Cherokee of minivans, which is not a bad thing at all.
Not at all.
As long as it's more reliable. We got a bunch of questions about New York. You know, we were talking again about sports sedans, you know, luxury sedans. That it's hard, you know, that $40,000, $50,000 price range to find something that clicks all the boxes. Inner Purpose asks, not sure why you guys are knocking cars that haven't even come out yet, especially the Jag XE. Reviewers from Europe's roads have very nice things to say about it. Just saying. We've driven a Jag XE, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, and there are some nice things to say about it. I mean, it drives nicely. I mean, the handling makes it truly a driver's car, but it's really tight inside, and the interior is not befitting a Jaguar. There's no sense of
occasion in this car.
No, nothing at all. There's no, you know, Jaguar needs to, you know, hey,
well,
look at me.
It doesn't need to be the old, you know, bankers
but it's
lobby
completely ordinary.
Yeah.
And yeah, the infotainment system is behind the times.
Yeah.
You got it, Gabe. I mean, look, you've got a new entry in this market, and it drives nice. Absolutely drives nice. Well, so does the Cadillac ATS. So does the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. So does the 3 Series BMW. They drive nice too. But is it bringing anything new? It's got a cramped rear seat, not super nicely done inside. Doesn't have modern infotainment and reliability. I don't know if I'd want to gamble on Jaguar right now.
I mean, that's the thing. The reference I had made to the Jaguar was in comparison to the Alfa Romeo Giulia. You know, that, again, if you want a rear drive based sedan from a kind of boutique European company, honestly, you probably have a better bet going with Jaguar than you do with Alfa Romeo. I mean, Jaguar's been here longer.
But, you know, again, now it's your turn to make too much sense. I mean, you look at that, you look at the Alfa Giulia, and full disclosure, I have a soft spot for things Italian, but that car looks dynamite.
You
I mean,
think
the
so?
Jaguar, it looks like someone designed it only in the front, and then the whole team went to a local pub for, you know.
That, again, like we said on the last show, that Genesis makes those cars look boring.
In the eye of the beholder.
So the Genesis New York concept?
Yes.
And that might actually be reliable.
Maybe. Desperate for Attention asks, as regards the Lexus IS, every other credible source regards the IS to be a very serious challenger in the sports sedan segment. And Toyota for Life, who I'm sure is an unbiased contributor here,
Totally.
says the Lexus IS 350 F Sport is a great driving car. What is that guy about not good driving car? What is that grammar about not good making sense? Anyway, we get this every time. We get this every time we mention the IS. Sorry, guys, it's not a great driving car.
I have never seen any other credible source testing an IS that wasn't a 350F.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually have. I've seen Car and Driver they tested the IS 250, and they were like, yeah, and they actually said our impressions of this whole line would have been tempered if testing that car.
Look, it's a bait and switch. It's a classic bait and switch. The guy has read lots of stuff. I mean, they mentioned the IS 350F. Yes, in most of the reviews that you could read about the IS, and they're all over the place, are these, the 10 percentile cars, right?
Yeah.
Right? And if that. So they're not building many of these cars. Rear drive, big engine, sporty suspension, very expensive. we tested a different car. We tested the car that everyone buys, which is the all-wheel drive.
And even beyond that, I
low
mean,
power
what's the name of our friend here? I mean,
Well, we have
okay.
Desperate for Attention and Toyota for Life.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Have you seen that IS on any hit parade? Any All-Stars, any 10 Best, any... No, you haven't. I'll answer it for you. And you have seen its competitors. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there was an initial thing about the IS. It was like a rock star for about 5 seconds,
Right.
and that's it.
Well, let's even get beyond what other journalists have said, because honestly, I don't care. I mean, we've tested an IS. We went and we bought an IS 300, the updated version,
Right.
because the IS 250 is gone.
We just finished testing
Or
it.
they've changed the powertrain choices. Now there's a 2-liter 4, but you can't get that with all-wheel drive. So now you can get a 3.5 V6. It's still not a great driving car. It's surprisingly inefficient. They stick you with a 6-speed automatic if you get all-wheel drive instead of the 8-speed that everyone else has. The packaging of that car is horrible. Speaking of cars that make me swear within a couple miles down the road.
And
it
okay,
is
even
so
if you're willing
cramped
to
in that
live
car.
with that packaging and you want a sports sedan, it doesn't deliver. It doesn't have the handling finesse and the agility and the sportiness of its competitors.
It just doesn't.
The stiff suspension doesn't make it. And,
Right.
and that's just not cutting it.
Right. Once again, getting back to practicalities, it will be reliable, which just means you're stuck with kind of a not so great driving car that's doesn't
Which-
give you trouble for a very long time.
Which is a reason to buy it.
Well, for
If
Yeah,
you
some-
need to have a car in that segment and you want something very reliable, that could trump everything. But we're
could,
just
but-
calling it as it is.
yeah, it's kind of sad that. Andrew Price says, you keep saying there's a hole in the market with regards to reliable, easy to use, and fun to drive luxury vehicles. Consumer Reports released their updated 2016 car data a few weeks ago, and they found Audi was overall the best brand of any automaker. Would you care to comment on where the hole exists exactly given that fact? Now, here's the thing. Audi as a car maker, that is completely true. The A4, though, is new.
Which is in our garage right now. Can
Right.
I, can I
We
announce
just
that?
bought-
Just
we
bought
just
it.
bought a new Audi A4.
So
The
stay
outgoing-
tuned.
Yeah, that's right. The outgoing A4 was a reliable car because
was-
they had been
it was
building
old.
it for so long. Also because it was old, it did lousy in crash test results.
Right.
Yes, one crash test. Yeah.
Yeah, but the one that everyone right now pays attention to, the Insurance Institute small overlap test.
Narrow offset.
That, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I mean we were talking about that segment, and the A4.
Yeah.
The A4 just misses some of the boxes because
So-
of its age.
Yes, so the new A4 is in our garage. We just took delivery of one. We will see. I mean, look, I haven't been in it yet, but you know, it's in ours. But I mean, it's got
Yeah,
the
at least
potential. It's got potential to fill that hole.
Based on what they did with the Q7,
It's got a really good potential
It's
to fill the
got
hole, yep.
potential. One more question.
I'll race you to the Keys for the weekend.
I'm taking the Pacifica. Actually. Why, when you talk about the BMW 3 Series, Mercedes-Benz C-Class, Audi A4, you never mention the Cadillac ATS? We did
No, we
mention
just
the
did.
Cadillac. We did.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
I love it.
ATS.
I've said it before.
ATS.
That's
I'm good.
okay. We've got 4 more mentions. Yeah, no, I've talked about the ATS before. I love driving the ATS. It is one of the sharpest handling cars in this class.
Indeed it is.
It is so ridiculously compromised. Q is not good. The packaging is horrible. There's like a foot in front of the radiator where there's nothing, so it means you get no back seat, a tiny trunk.
Yeah.
It's
The people who designed the chassis on these new Cadillac cars are awesome.
they are.
CTS, ATS, they drive light, they drive nimble.
CT6 too.
CT6 too.
Yeah.
They really know what they're doing.
They
The
should all get
packaging-
raises.
That's right. The packaging of at least ATS and CTS leaves something
Yep.
to be desired. They're big car. They're for their size. They don't have as much room as they should.
Right.
So that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Talking Cars. As always, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.